All right. Well, that brings us through to my favorite part of the evening. This is where I get to sit back and learn a whole lot of stuff. So thanks for joining me in my lounge room to come and learn some stuff about how to become highly visible online. So we've got Jemimah Ashleigh. She's waiting in the wings here. She is an award-winning entrepreneur. When I say award-winning, she has won multiple awards. She is a best-selling author. She is a keynote speaker, and she's got an interesting background as well too. So she has come out, would you believe, from the police force. She has worked or studied in the forensics area or criminology area. So really interesting background, but she's come out of all that. She's run or set up and created multiple six-figure businesses as well. So she's just not talking the stuff. She's lived it. She's done it. What she's teaching tonight and talking about tonight, this has been part of her journey, and this is real stuff that works. And that's why I'm so glad to have Jemimah along here tonight. Her business is the Visibility Lab, and that helps small business owners grow and scale with very practical advice to help them get highly visible online and offline. So she's spoken on stages across the United States, Canada, Australia, Indonesia. I think last time she was on the show, we were just talking about it. She was in Bali at the time she was here, 3 or 4 years ago. And so she did the show from there. And she, spoken on stages, but, alongside the likes of Gary V, Barack Obama's senior advisor, and the founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation. So she's also interviewed Daniel Flynn, the CEO and founder of Thank You, Tracy Spicer, and 4-Hour Workweek legend, Tim Ferriss. So not sure whether she's mastered the 4-hour work week. We're about to find out. But in any case, she's got lots of information to share with us tonight about how to be highly visible. So sit back, grab your pen and paper, keyboard and mouse, and let's welcome to the stage Jemimah Ashleigh.
Hi, thanks for having me. I find it really strange hearing my own bio back. That's one of my favorite things to listen back to. My name is Jemimah Ashleigh. Everything Nick said is true and much more. I'm going to elaborate a little bit of that now. Now, few ground rules for this. I love teaching. I love this stuff. I love it. But if you don't understand something, please tell me. If I've skipped something, if you don't get it, ask questions. I want it to land. One of the things I'd never want to be known for is like, she kind of told us what to do. No. Today, we're actually going to go through what to actually do. So today, we're going to be going through how to do a visibility blueprint and what you should be doing in 2024. Now, we are 46% of the year of the way through. Not stoked with that. That's pretty towards the end of the year. It's a little bit worrying. And our joke tagline that we say to people all the time is, we're just saying that every single person should know your name. I truly don't believe business owners fail because they're not good at what they do. I think people fail because no one knows they exist. Today, we're going to go through exactly what I teach people on a day-to-day basis, every single day, and all of my paid clients. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them. I'm very excited for this. Nick, I just want to say about that book. I did comment something about that book's actually banned from prisons. It's not allowed to be in Australia and the US, not allowed to have that book. That's how powerful that is. So if you do go and read it, you'll understand why. But yeah, banned. So let's jump in. The things that I know from... So who is Jemimah Ashleigh? Nick talks about this a little bit. And I want to be very clear here that I do not come from an entrepreneurial background. I do not, like my family we're not in business at all. I grew up in what is referred to as a law enforcement home. My mum worked in jails. My dad was a cop. I went to a primary school with 9 children. That's not a joke. That's not the class. That is the whole school. That is prep to grade 6. I am the most unlikely entrepreneur to be on stage with Gary Vaynerchuk. On what planet does that happen? Tonight, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to give you exactly what I wish I had had when I started this journey. I started work with Victoria Police as soon as I turned 19, and I was recruited to the AFP shortly after that. I then went from having a top secret positive vetting security clearance, working in human trafficking, people smuggling. I've done a little bit of everything, but if anyone knows what a positive vet is, it means they don't believe anything that you have told them. They are going to fact check everything. And within a matter of about 7 months, I did my entire career because I started a tiny little podcast. I got 7 million downloads. And the AFP was like, we love you and you're very good at being a criminal intelligence analyst, but you can't be here and do that. And I was like, you know what, that's pretty fair, because I now had a profile. I accidentally did a profile, and now I'm going to show you things escalate. I built a brand very, very accidentally. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I did it so you guys can do it intentionally. So you don't have to leave the AFP if that's what you currently are. They hate me telling this story, but you know, we're here now. So here we go. Who am I now? I've been featured over 350 times. And let me be very clear, I have in media and radio, TV, those areas. Let me be very clear, I have paid not 1 cent in media. I've never paid a PR firm and never done any of that. Spoken as we went through most of this. I think this is what you might have got, Nick. I'm an international best-selling author, sold 250,000 books in less than 24 hours. I've been a finalist 65 times plus. I think we stopped counting that. I've won 6 national awards, 4 international awards. I've been named one of the top 10 entrepreneurs in Australia, woman of influence. I've done a few things. It's a great story. Jemimah, why are you telling us this? With competition more fierce than ever before, it is so important for you to be known as the go-to person in your industry. At the Visibility Lab, this is what I teach every single day. This is what we're going to go through today. These are the 5 pillars to which you are going to build your profile and your business. How you're going to get free PR, free publicity, get social media, do it right, and win awards. I cannot stress to you how important awards will be in your journey. For our New Zealand guys, I got you. Firstly, this will also cover all of the New Zealand or stuff, Australia, New Zealand, we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to start with personal brand, move to high level network, talk about media and PR, social media and awards. Let's start with building a personal brand. Let me be very clear that most of you have probably built a very good business brand. People are going to know your business brand pretty well, but people are going to buy you. This is the first building block that you need. It's why we talk about Nick Cree and not SmashGo. It's why we talk about Jemimah Ashleigh and less about the Visibility Lab. You're at the front of your business. You need to have your own brand. Why do I say that? Because I've had multiple businesses. I flipped, I've sold, I closed one because it wasn't working, walked away from another, passed it to somebody else, and now I'm building the lab. It is very easy to hire Jemimah Ashleigh to do a keynote. It is very difficult to get the Visibility Lab to do one. You are more than just the job that you have. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. It is a legacy that you are leaving. So let's talk about what goes into a personal brand. Firstly, a logo, the actual brand. Most people here have got your business brand. Love that. Where's yours? What colors do you wear on stage? What fonts do you use in your social media? What clothing do you wear? Very unlike, every photo that you see tonight, I will look like me. Very intentional. Some of the photos you're catching me on the best day, but most of them I look exactly like that. The language that you say, how are you communicating with your audience? The music you play in videos. See how like Nick's always wearing fun, cool shirts? If he came out in a tuxedo or was wearing like tracky pants, we'd all be confused. This is part of his brand. The attitude is it can do. Can it be done? I've met Nick in real life a bunch of times. I can tell you the attitude is exactly the same in person as in social media. Ladies, jewelry and makeup, very important. How's your hair looking? All of these things build your personal brand because you are teaching an audience to get to know you alongside your business. People buy you over your business 100% of the time. The final part and we're going to have to go quick on this. I spend weeks talking about all of these in different things, but let's talk about what you want to be known for. Outside of your business, sometimes these are extremely tethered. Who are you and what do you want to be known for? The easiest way to answer this is, what do you care enough about? I'm very passionate about people in business. I'm very passionate about women's rights. I'm very passionate about getting people seen. I'm very passionate about people leaving law enforcement. I think it's great for people to do that. But what thought leadership are you showing? It is extremely cluttered out there already. There is over 20,000 Instagram posts that will go out by the time I finish this sentence. So how are you cutting through the noise? And what are you adding to an already very overly cluttered conversation? So if you don't have a personal brand, for those of you who are like, no, I don't have this, it's very easy to do. And in the blue circles on each of these pages, you're going to see a little blue circle. It's going to give you some hints, some tips and tricks, if you will. If you don't have something currently, I recommend looking on Canva and seeing if you can whip up something good. If you want someone else to do it, Fiverr and Upwork are really good options. Fiverr is about $7 or $8 for just a basic logo. Upwork, you could be looking at $300-400. The other thing I want you to get clear on is 10 things. What do you want to be known for? If I was going to put a microphone in front of you, what could you talk about to the end of days? What are the things you're passionate about? What do you want to be known for? Those, we call them our 10 things. It can be 10, it can be 20, it's fine, but just get it planned. Because when you start doing media and PR, it's easy to get distracted. What we've done here is just put a social media post. And let me be clear here. This is giving you a lot of information about me without you realizing. Firstly, this is a funny post. If you read that, I like to think I'm funny. It's debatable. But one, there is color here that people recognize because I know it's my brand. The font will always be the same. The Visibility Lab logo exists there. The photo is of me and it looks like me. Jewelry, hair, makeup, thought about how I'm turning up for that. My personal brand is part of this and my logo. None of this was accidental. It was all very, very intentional. Your personal brand really goes into what we do. Let's talk about strong network. A very famous quote and one of my favorite things, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I cannot stress this enough. Your network will ultimately always be your net worth. There is a reason that most of us go to networking and BX and go to BNI and do all this really big stuff, because it's so important that you get to know people. It was theorized that you were the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. There was a study done at Stanford University. If I'm nothing if not an absolute nerd, and I recommend you reading this a lot. I'm actually got 3 university degrees in there and law enforcement stuff. But the Stanford study basically they took a very medium group of people. So I'm going to use Nick and myself as the examples here. Nick, can I get you to come off mute for me, please?
Here we go. I'm off
Would
mute.
you like to be part of my study that I'm doing?
Absolutely, yes.
Every single person here is going to be medium socioeconomic, our middle of the roaders, if you will. Nick, for 12 months, you and I are going to be studied. No one knows what this study is about. It's called a blind study, which means no one knows. But you, Nick, are going to go and hang out with. We're so medium. You and I, we're so medium. Half the room, the ones on the left, if you think I'm talking about you, that'll do. And then there's the right side of the room. On the left-hand side, you're going to go hang out with all the rich people, the people who are higher socioeconomic, the people who have slightly more money, maybe have some different stuff. But I am going to be allocated out to the lower socioeconomic people. And for 12 months, I'm going to spend, and you are too, 5 hours a week minimum hanging out with this group of people for 12 months.
I'm good with that.
You happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Great. So after 12 months, this experiment happens and Nick and I get brought back. We are medium people. We have come back. I've got a question for you, Nick. What happened? What was your hobby that you and your higher socioeconomic, what did you guys do?
What do we do?
Yeah, you spent 5 years. So I've got some questions for you. How's your health going? How's your wealth going? How's your job going? But what kind of activities did you get up to in the higher socioeconomic people?
Well, we went out jet skiing. There's lots of boating activities happening out there. In fact, one of the things that I really enjoyed was jumping on the Learjet and heading over to Italy for a glass of wine and some unbelievable spaghetti over there, the real stuff, and pizza.
Excellent. So, I do love that you just really run with this analogy. So what actually happened is not far off. You guys actually did something really interesting. You went and did a whole bunch of different activities. You tried bowling. You tried like cross-country skiing. Someone had a boat. You did go out on boats, but you ate better. You actually ate more protein and more vegetables. Your job went really well because you met some really cool connections who got you a better job. You dumped the half-assed person that you were dating and you started dating someone fully, and you started committing to your life. You opened a savings account, you put money away, you were doing better off. Got a question, Nick, how am I doing? I spent 1 year hanging out. I've got a question, what was my activity? What did we do for 5 hours a week?
Well, actually, you spent a lot of time working and...
No, I went to the pub.
Oh, you went to the pub?
I went to, our favorite one was Chili's, if anyone knows the American Chili's chain. How's my health?
Or not that good because there were too many Maccas and KFCs in
Too many
there.
chili burgers happening
Yeah.
there. My alcohol went up, my food intake went up, my food's irrelevant. Calories went up significantly, and they were dead.
I don't think you went to the gym much either.
Really didn't. My relationship was the same. I didn't even get like a CPA didn't go up. I didn't get wasn't any further in my career. Thank you, Nick. Thanks so much for being my rich friend for a second. Here's the problem. Those micro moments for the 5 and 10 minutes every day and the interruptions that you're getting from that person who's kind of dragging you down, who's a bit of a Debbie Downer or a bit of a fun sponge. The problem is the people that you are around affect you in more ways than you are probably realizing. Do not underestimate the power of the people that you are spending time with. It is very important. Audit your circle. Look at who is adding flames to your fire and not absolutely decimating the fire that you currently have. I cannot stress this enough. This is the second building block for a reason. You've got to be around good people, and good people need to know your name. If you are good at what you do, it is so incredibly important. Finally, go to networking events. I know a few of you already from the BX Traps and from BNI and those places. Networking events and communities will be everything. Down the bottom, I think some of you guys will know some of these people from the BX community as well, but these communities, the Visibility Lab, we've built a community really intentionally with good people around it. This is the second building block I want to give you. Sit with warriors. The conversation is different. If you're hearing people just talk about the same, I'm sick of talkers, right? I want to see what you're doing. I want to know what your job is and what your goals are. This stuff's exciting, and it should be exciting. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. All right, let's jump over to the next one. Let's talk about social media. I know a few things about this. So, number one, this is the one that most people feel like they have a handle on the most. And it is the one that I see get done wrong the most also. So the first thing is, how often should I post on social media? I don't want to annoy anyone. I can tell you that you need to post every single day on every single platform. I apologize in advance. It's not my rule. I didn't make the rule. You can blame Meta. This is what the education is telling us. If I post a post right now, 6% of my friends list on average will see that post. That's it. If you post more than once, you will have about 10% of your list see that. You will not annoy anyone, I promise you. Social media plan is deeply, deeply important. You need to know what you're posting. If I had, I don't know, ran a social media company for a couple of years, I would be telling you, I did do that. I recommend that you make a mix of these kinds of posts. One of the things we're very good at doing is advertising our day-to-day activities. But what we don't do is talk about what we are good at and also try to make sales. The winning formula is this: share your expertise. Every one of you is an expert in something, and I am not in that thing. Tell me you're an expert and explain to me the most basic concepts as if I was 15 years old and hearing it for the first time. You think the things that you know. Right now, I just watched a bunch of you pick pens and papers up to do that. To go and write this down. Love that. Thank you. But again, I feel like I don't need to teach this. Like, you should know this. Do you don't? Let me explain. Take it back to basics. We think we over-explain all the time. We under-explain what we do and what problem we solve all the time. Explain it to me like I'm 15 and tell me again. CRM and sales. I never see people. Lead magnets, just see like one of those things. You have to have a lead magnet. You have to be adding people to your email list. You are constantly with the CRM and sales, you have to be building that list. It is the only thing you truly own. In 1 second, Instagram can decide, no dice, she's out of here, and take my account, and there is nothing that I can do. Build your CRM and build your mail list. Put out your lead magnets. Personal, we have to share part of it. If anything I can tell you about building that personal brand, tell us about you. This isn't to be mistaken for a diary entry. I just watched someone say that they like sometimes offend their sister. It's not what we're going with that. What we are talking about is not boring stuff like I ate some soup for dinner. It's probably too boring, but like, what did you do on the weekend? Did you go to a yoga class? I took a photo of my cat earlier who decided to fall asleep inside a Katie's bag. and I took a photo of that. That's personal enough to share insight into your life. Videos. Nick is the king of this. Love a good video. So much easier to cut through the noise. Meta is valuing video over everything else now. It is absolutely the queen. Be mindful of that. Testimonials. When did you last share what other people said about you? What benefit you had with your client? What great things you have done? We in Australia, we really, and New Zealand too, you guys are really guilty of this also. We like to play down how good we are. Media. If you've been featured somewhere, share it. Keep sharing it again. Podcast interviews, TV interviews is easy to get. We'll talk about that next. Put it on your socials. Quotes. Give some inspiration. Make it funny. Do an energy engagement. Engagement posts look like those things like, what's your Starbucks order? And it somehow got 200,000 comments. And you're like, what happened? Does anyone care what your Starbucks order is? No, they're using that to bait Meta to try to boost organic views later. It's the same thing with Facebook. It's the same thing with Instagram. It will always do it. That's why you'll see things like, where was the last place you went on holidays? Or I saw one the other day that made me giggle. And it was, bet you can't name a fish without an eye in it. I was like, 100 people like, barramundi. The point is here, they're trying to trick the system and beat the algorithm. That's all they're trying to do. You need to use social media to also communicate with your clients, respond to comments, respond to feedback that you get from them. It's really important. And to communicate. Remember, you're having a one-way conversation with them. They are your friend. Be kind to them. I know a bit about this. My Instagram's pretty decent. So is my Facebook. Use stories and use lives all the time. Video will always be king. For right now, they're trying to take down YouTube and they're doing a fairly reasonable job of it. Video is queen. So the third building block I really want to leave you with here. Tell them again exactly who you are. You have told people what you do a lot. Probably in the start. If you haven't done it for a while, I'd bet money on that. The first thing that we have on our Instagram is the story of how I got to where I am today. Recommend, go read it, quite interesting. The next one is how to work with me. And the third one, what have our clients achieved working with the Visibility Lab? I've told you about my personal stuff. I'm trying to make a sale, and I've now given you testimonial results. 3 of the things that I mentioned in point 3. This is the point with this stuff. You have to remind them again. I recommend doing content plans in advance if you can. I'm not going to get too much into the blue bubble because it might be a little bit much to explain all of that. Could I please change my slide background? Is that not working? Can you not see that? Apologies. Don't know if I had done that. Okay, cool. Let's talk about media and PR. With the social media stuff, I just want to finish up by saying, if you can plan out, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. If you are starting out, and one of the people I mentioned, someone said earlier that they were just really new on this journey, done will always be better than perfect. If you don't have social media stuff that's going particularly well, if you're just putting posts out, if it's going okay, if you're all right with it, and it's just like you were able to do 1 post a day, the same post across Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those, fine. Done is better than perfect always. The next question I always get is, what social media platforms do I need to be on? It's a really good question. It does depend on where your ideal client is. So Facebook will always be one of them, because 78% of people last year went to Facebook over Google for a recommendation. Dentist, kids, clothes, who do you go for, like what holiday place would you recommend? We go to Facebook as a default. It's also the #1 most search engine over Google. Do not underestimate that. Facebook, you have to be one of them, and then wherever your clients are. Do 2, do them well, and then you can add to them. All right, let's talk about media and PR. This is the one people love, and I love talking about this in awards. It is so easy for you to get media. It kills me. The only reason your clients are getting, your competitors, whose competitor here has been on TV or been a guest or winning awards at the moment? Just quick show of hands. Whose competitor's doing it? Everyone's cool. Why? Why them, not you? My bet is they know this stuff or they entered the award and you didn't. It's really that simple. You have to be in it to win it, especially with media. The project will not call you unless you are a one of a kind and the only person, because they've already probably got someone. Our job's just to prove it's better. In the last 12 months in the blue, this is what we were last year. This is what we got to in the last, this is this year. Yeah, this is in the last, this year, what are we up to? 46% of the year. This is what our clients have done. And this is where we've gotten people. And again, not 1 cent was paid. They all did it themselves. It is not that difficult. Here is a formula of doing it. Understand very clearly here that it is a 24-hour media cycle. Quick show of hands, who here can work in any country? It doesn't have to just be Australia or New Zealand, right? Guess what is happening right about now? London. We're about to see the UK take over. You better believe they've got more magazines and stuff than us. It is a 24-hour media cycle and different places have different opportunities. Source Bottle, if you're in Australia, Source Bottle is the #1 place to get featured. I cannot stress this enough. If you were looking at targeting the US or Canada and potentially US and Canada, I'd look at Haro, H-A-R-O, Help a Reporter Out. They are currently transitioning to a new name called Collectively, but Haro will still work. If you want podcast guests is a great place to start. It's a free email service that will just deliver places that are looking for. You can put yourself up to pay. It's paid to pitch yourself as an expert. So be mindful of that. And Podcast Collab Club is another one, particularly focusing on the US market. You'll approach people directly. You get podcast interviews. It's great. That is how most of our clients get most of the opportunities that they currently have. Thank you for that, Jenny. Appreciate that. Every day you'll get emails from these places and it's your job to pitch to them. That's exactly what happens. Which ones are good for you to pitch to? Great question. You have to look at, there's 2 tricks for this that I'll give you. #1, check the magazine if you can tell where they're pitching from. If it is something like Joe's blog, for some of you guys who have never done media before, that is a great place to start. For someone like me, might not be worth my time to do that. That being said, 1 is always greater than 0. It is very hard for you to get picked up in Forbes, and I don't want that to happen for your first media appearance. They are scathing. They write really mean stuff. Be careful of that. For the ladies in the room, Mamma Mia has to be on your list. 97% female database, 1.8 million readers a day. Every woman needs to be on that list. That's Life will pay you $50 per story. The Project, a lot easier to get on than people think, as long as you've got a good story. This year alone off Source Bottle, we've had clients on SBS, Ticker TV, Sunrise, The Project, Foxtel, SBS, ABC, and you can't ask me that. Why do I look a bit tired? I was at ABC Studios till like 10 o'clock last night. It is easier to get them than you think it is. Figure out where your ideal client is spending their time and where they are spending their money. Those are the magazines, those are the podcasts. That's where you have to be. How to do this without a PR firm? If you know the magazine you want to be featured in, I want you to approach them directly. There's always a contact us button somewhere on there. Everyone needs new blogs. Everyone's looking for new content. Media are just waiting for you to pitch them an idea. This is one of the strongest ways to get your name out there, is using the leverage of other people and other publications across their audience. You have a solution to a problem that those people have. Those magazines will want to hear from you. You are not going to annoy them. You're not going to frustrate them. You're not going to do any of that. Please just feel free to contact them. You need to have other people talking about you. It is really easy to build a reputation up that way. Use their platforms. They've already done the hard work. Just come in and be the expert. All right, it's my favorite thing to talk about because it's so underrated. So these are some of the successes that I've had from just being on Source Bottle. This was not hard, but it was a weighted effort. Consistently, every single day, applying twice a day to different things. This is not an easy answer. This is a marketing activity in your business every single day. Should I send them a pre-written article? Fred, great question. Absolutely not. Why? What if they don't pick it up? Send them an idea, send them an outline, send them about 150 words. Unless they're asking for a direct, like, submit an article to us. Please note that anywhere that is syndicated will not take it if it's been somewhere else before. So syndication basically means Rupert Murdoch owns that publication mostly. As an example, I did a story for Mamma Mia, right? We love Mamma Mia. My cousin in Canada rang me freaking out because I was on MSNBC because it was syndicated. It did so well on Mamma Mia, they pushed it out to other places. If you're going to original content only, then I would not be sending whole articles. Be very clear about this. I would send ideas and be like, this is what I want to write a story about. Are you interested? Yes or no? Because once it's used somewhere, it can very rarely be used anywhere else. Don't pitch your own blogs. How much do you have to change it? Great question. No one asked that, but someone will. How much would you have to change an article that's existing? It's about 30%. That is the rule. So if you have a good blog, and maybe we could change it 30%, add some plot spots, take some other out, becomes original content at about 30%. So don't write full things. It's just going to waste your time and theirs. And if they haven't approved it, you don't want to write it. Can you get someone to DM me directly? Can you get paid for these? Absolutely. I've received some good coin from some of these opportunities. All right, this is my favorite thing to talk about. Let's talk about awards. There are 400 different business awards that will open across Australia and New Zealand this year. 400. As of right now, today, 88 are open. All of them have different levels of benefit, if you will, and we've had some pretty stellar results from these. Each applicant, every one of you would be eligible for at least 100 plus awards in your own category. You guys won't cross over in the same. Some are all men, some are all women, some are trades, some are just for business, some for accounting, some are for entrepreneurs, some are an eclectic mix of all of it. But about 100 of the 400 will absolutely be for you. On average, it's about 150. Each of the applications that happen get about 90 different applications per award. That is pretty good odds in your favor when 10 to 15 of those will be finalists. There is a 10% chance that you will be a finalist if you just submit something. The psychology tells us that finalist is better than being a winner. Can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but it is. People think you are very, very good at what you do, but still affordable. Not necessarily the case. So please feel free to go and apply for these things. Great things about awards is that it is a benefit always. It gives you an audit of what you're doing. It asks you questions like, what are you doing to support sustainability? It asks you questions like, what are you doing to train yourself and your teams? And suddenly, when you don't have anything to write down, you can find gaping holes before they became gaping problems. The business audit is really, really helpful. How are things truly going? If you are an employer, one thing I like to mention that once you have a business win on there, you become an employer of choice. Has anyone here, quick show of hands, anyone been to an awards night? Few people, yeah. How great is it when your little name's read out? The Australian Small Business Champion gets 1,100 people per night. 1,100, pretty good odds, right? Well, it's a lot of people in a room. They have 4 different awards and 4 different nights. So if you were to enter, let's say 2 of those, that's 2,200 people that will hear your name, see your photo, and you will potentially walk on stage and do a speech. Do not underestimate visibility when it comes to awards. It is huge. Awards are a business. Let me be clear on that. It is a activity, marketing activity I cannot recommend enough, but there are costs that come into these, and I want to be very upfront about them. Number one, you may have an application fee. Most awards that have an application fee, I'm not a big fan of, but sometimes it's worth it. You should not be paying anything over $250 for an application. I'd be very mindful of that. Once you start paying like $1,000, you're paying for the award, and that is very, very common, and it is something that happens quite a bit. as you get more successful. The other thing is you can get given awards. I find that very jarring when that happens. Just someone rings you and say you've won an award. We were named an employer of choice. We have 2 part-time employees and me. Fred beating me to the punch. Love that. Hang on a second. Do one application and do it well. So here's a hack. Fred, I'll answer that in a second. Here's the biggest hack I can give you of if you want to do awards. There is an award called the Australian Small Business Champion Awards. For the ladies in the room right now, the Australian Women's Small Business Champion Awards are currently open. And for anyone that works in the trades, the Australian Tradies Small Business Champion Awards are open. Fun fact, it's run by Precedent Productions. Most of you will know this from the local business awards that happen across, I think it's New Zealand, Sydney, Canberra, I think are the ones in Queensland. It's coming into Melbourne this year. Very excited about it, 10 out of 10. Precedent Productions run most of the awards. It's by far the biggest. It's got 1,100 people per night in a room. It's at the Star in Sydney most of the time. They ask the same questions every single year. The other thing that I will say about their questions is they're probably the most thorough. They're the ones that you would go, I understand this completely. I understand how this works. I understand what that does. I understand you get every single part of that. I'm getting there, Fred. Calm down. I got you, man. I promise. The thing is with the applications is that these ones is that you can repurpose that application to every other award out there. There are only so many ways they can ask you. So why did you start your business? Who's your ideal client? How are you marketing your business? And I'm telling you, I've entered every award. It's totally fine. Today, we have, this year alone, we've had 87 winners. We've had 400 finalists. We've lost count of that. I give up on that. Australian Small Business Champion, we had 100% success rate. 7 winners to date and 2 Australian Awards. Also not featured in that was the Women Changing the World Awards that happened in London on last Friday night at 1 o'clock in the morning. Do you know how weird it is to put your hair and makeup on? I got out of bed at like 11:30, 12:30, put hair and makeup on and stood there in a dress to be like, thank you, and then went back to bed. I wasn't going to London for an award, but do you know the PR and publicity? Fergie read it out like the Duchess of York read my name out. Do you know the insanity that sits in my brain for these moments? I cannot stress to you enough the benefit of that. Building block 5, stand out every single award. This is some of the awards that we've won this year that our clients have gone and done. And absolutely incredible, amazing, 10 out of 10, our clients are killing it. Let's talk about what's currently open. So we saw the same issue. There are 1,100. We spent last year about $4,500 Googling awards. My VA spent a very long time, but there are currently 88 awards that are currently open. That lovely little thing that you're seeing there is a screenshot of our portal. We actually invented a portal that can do with that. AI for awards. I just saw the comment about answering questions. AI is good at doing awards. I think we're going to start seeing that they're going to run filters over these to catch out the AI applications. I'm not saying that you can't teach chat everything about your business, and I think you can do a very good job of that. It's all right, Fred, but I'll get this question all the time. Can I use AI to help me? Absolutely. I would actually recommend it, but you have to have a really good foundation going into it to help it do awards. We do a lot of award editing, and one of the things we first say is, excuse me, is how much of this is chat? Because we start to see Americanized spellings. I think people are going to start being pulled up on that. And I think we're going to see what's being referred to as trapdoors. And Fred, you'll probably know heaps more about this than me. But this is about basically inserting a word somewhere in there that's going to say chat's run it through. So I've got a friend of mine who's using the phrase white rhinoceros and is embedding this in data. So when you cut and paste the question, drop it in, it has white rhinoceros somewhere in there that makes sense if you skim it. But there are these trapdoors catching out people who are cheating and using chat. I think we're going to see more of that. I think we just have to get, and I think I'm all for AI. I think it's really incredible. I think it's going to change how we do business, but I think it's really important that we do that. We had the same problem. We couldn't find awards we had to spend thousands of dollars, and we were like, there has to be an easier way. So we created the awards portal, which has every single award in one location. So let's talk about what's open. Any of the Melbourne guys that are on the call who are also freezing, me too, I get it. City of Melbourne just opened theirs. Gippsland has a bunch. Queensland, you guys got a ton of awards yesterday. You got about 20. National for the women in the room, Osmompreneur Open, recommend it. Australian Small Business Champion Women's Awards and the Tradies Awards are open. Australian Financial Review will open those. If you are wanting to win money, the international is where it's at. Verve Clinco, famously a champagne. Theirs is currently open. That's the Bold Women Award. They are offering 10,000 euros for the finalists and 50,000 for the winner. Go have a look. It's free to enter. And there's also got one open, and there's a couple of graphic design artists awards that are open at the moment. If you want to send me an email, I can send you a link to the portal. It's really easy to get access to. I'll put my email into the chat there. I think this is what we've gone through today. And oh, Nick, I've got time. How good's that? So a few things. I want to know from you guys, and I'm going to stop the share in a second. You guys can ask questions. Of the things we talked about today, do you need help with your personal brand? Do you need help with high-level network? Do you need help with media and PR? Where are you stuck? I want to know. Is it 4? Is it social media and having a plan? Or 5, is it awards? Which is the one? Put it into the chat for me, just so I can start to, and then we'll start doing some questions about this stuff. I want to know where you're caught. I look at these as building blocks. If you don't have a good personal brand, hard to get a good level network. It's hard to get in media without having these two first. It's really hard to have social media well, and it's impossible to do an award application without that. So if you can just in the chat tell me which one is the one I'm like, it might be a couple, but just to get a feel for maybe what you want me to talk about more. But I'll stop the share. Yeah, Ross, I've invested in the business brand. Yeah, business personal brand for sure. Yeah, personal network. Narana, absolutely. I want to hear where you're getting caught. Personal brand, super important. Social media ideas. Yeah, really great. All right, I'll stop the share there. And you guys can ask as many questions as you need. Let's do it. Okay. Let's talk. Okay, so social media plan that pivots around UI campaigns, and 100% really difficult. And feel free to bring yourself off mute if you've got questions. I hate just talking at like a comment box. It kills me. I love a good chat. Chat to me, please. I'm here. Social media plans, absolutely. So campaigns are really, I think, very beneficial at times, especially if you're trying to get an outcome, fill a retreat, fill an event, you've got something coming up. Really, really important. But the thing is with social media, I think that it's a tool in the toolbox, but so much of it is we just have to make a ton of noise to not be forgotten. So the psychology tells us it's 42 days. If I meet you and you don't really make an impression on me, as in like nothing huge happens where I have a big conversation that's pleasant, but nothing good, bad, or indifferent happens, 42 days before I'll forget that you exist on the planet. That I will absolutely not remember you at all. And that is not personal. That's just how my brain is going to work. And it's significantly worse if it was just a, hi, how are you? Good, how are you? If that's it, you got about 24 hours before I'll look at a photo of you and just say, I've never seen that person before in my life. I'm going to ask a really sincere question here. Has anyone here put their hand out in a meeting and be like, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Jemimah, and they're all Aldwin or Roz or Paul, and the person goes, we've met multiple times? Yeah, cool. Yeah, me too. And you feel like a bit of a dick for the next 30 seconds while you try to dig up? Yeah, that's because that person wasn't very interesting. You were so interesting because they've remembered you, or they follow you on socials or something like that, but you don't remember them, and it's because they did nothing to be remembered for. I want you to think about our reptile brain, that we had to remember where we hid the grain, where the berries were. We remembered the important stuff. Nowadays, it transitions to keys. Did I pay for parking today? Did I turn my hair straightener off? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. You get like, did I remember to do this stuff versus, you know, you met Steve. It was fine. I don't need to remember Steve. Steve's going to remember you because you said something cool. All right, bring yourself off mute if you've got questions, especially around, I saw a lot of you talking about personal about the brand. I can keep talking, but I can promise you none of us want that.
Yeah,
Just
Jemimah, it's Fred. You actually said you were going to drop your email in the chat, so we.
Yeah, of course, please. Yeah, it's in my, sorry, my apologies. Done.
That's okay.
It's in my name, like while I'm chatting.
Yeah, that's cool. I just got probably a little bit of an issue with what do you promote? Like, because you've got a business, like I know I listened to what you said about promoting yourself as a personal brand or whatever, but is there a divide somewhere that, you know, you really need to push the personal over the business or the business over the personal?
They're 100% equal. At every turn, they're equal. It is doing both simultaneously. It's a pain in the butt. I apologize in advance, but it's both.
Yeah, so there's not one you should concentrate on more than the other.
No, I would say your best bet is figure out where your ideal client is. You build your brand alongside the business. At one point, Fred, what's going to happen? And just quick show of hands for a second to give some gravity to this. Who here has had more than one business in their time? Yeah. Liquidation, very real. Closing a business because of issues, very real. Selling a business, very real. These things, we want these to happen. You will always be Fred. Your business will not necessarily always be around. We have to keep the legacy of everything that you've done in one go. That's why I start this off by going. So I used to be a criminal intelligence analyst, and I used to be really cool and like jump out of like helicopters and stuff. And now I just teach this stuff. Prefer this, 10 out of 10, right? 10 out of 10 prefer this. But the reason we give you that background is because you can do anything you want. As humans, we grossly overestimate what we can do in 12 months, grossly underestimate what we can do in 3 years. So where you are, and again, I like to think of this stuff that we're doing here, it's straws that break camels' backs. There's no moment where I've ever looked at what I've done, and we can go back to my bio and have a look at it, where I feel like I've made it. Entrepreneurs are notoriously bad at this, right? We climb Everest, we're like doing it, we're at the base camp, we get to the summit, we make it to like the camp one, and we're like, yeah, we don't even take the time to turn around and have a look at the background. We're going for summit number 2. Then we get to the top of the mountain and we're like, we wrote the book, we're a best-selling author, we did the presentation, and we get to the top of the tower and we're like, what's next? We're very bad at this stuff, so we have to carry that legacy with us, because at some point that business is going to be something else. Roz. Thanks for raising your hand. Appreciate that.
Just sit back quietly most of the time and listen rather than being a participant as such. But I sort of thought, when you had listed there the networking side, it's been really hard over the years, because I'm more of I wouldn't say exactly an introvert, but I like being a recluse hermit type and not going out there and doing things that involve meeting people. And I have very much definitely chosen not to do networking, because it is that fear of connection, I suppose. What do I say? Conversation. It's just I've gotten out of the habit of it, and I'm not a young'un. But it seems, because most of what I'm doing now is online, and it does take a heck of a lot of effort and time to go through all this, the social media stuff and everything when doing it by myself. But it's fun, and that's what my basis is of what I do. I've got to enjoy it, and I just be me. So that's what I've learned over the years. Yeah. I don't really have a question, I don't.
So, okay, I'm waiting for it. So yeah, really easy to get out of the habit. I'll just talk back at you. It's fine. Really easy to get out of the habit of doing networking. 100%. I went to America for 8 months working, and I came back to Australia, and then I had to go and do like networking groups, and I was like, I hate it here. The thing is with that, Roz, we're having a bit of a conversation now. Great thing about networking is they're just conversations. It doesn't necessarily have to be a whole bunch of people. One of the great things about doing the online stuff, and there's lots of options for networking online, we've really moved from that. BNI is a really great one. BX is a really good one as well. There are a ton of networking groups. Women with Altitude does have a lot of people who are plus 50 that do a lot of online networking. There's some really great groups out there for that. The biggest thing I'd say for that is it's just about conversation and connection. It's just about having some conversations occasionally with people, and then asking for good referrals and asking for this is what we're doing. Roz, what do you do?
Me, I'm a psychic medium, and I do hypnotherapy and that style of thing, which is more a one-to-one.
Yeah, for sure. And that's great. So my question is, where are those people spending time and money? The people, your ideal clients, who are they already talking to? And probably psychics are probably going to yoga studios, they're going to Reiki homes, those places. You don't need to network with everyone. You need to network with those people.
I mean, tomorrow is the first time in yonks that I'm going to join a new group to actually get out there again, because I have become too much of a hermit.
You know, COVID did that to a lot of people, but also like winter's coming and it's all just snuggly and all of that stuff. I get it. I'm in Melbourne. I'm dying. I don't know if anyone else is in Melbourne, but give me a shout out. We can go and get a hot chocolate and freeze together. It's one of those things that it's a habit. And I'm not saying that I every day feel like I want to post on social media, or when I left like the studio last night at 10:30 that I wasn't like, I just want to be in bed. This isn't every day really easy. This is the things we need to do to grow our business.
Yeah, and it's the other thing too with social media. It's becoming so much of a dragging the energy down by having a feeling that you have to all the time.
And that's where you need to plan, because I don't want you to feel like you have to. This is where places like we come in, because we go, this is what you're posting today. And you go, okay, I get it. We've got a template. Email me. I can tell you about it. We've got a template to help you do that. I'm just going to get to those questions. Jen M. Hi, baby. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thanks. It's great presentation. Thank you for putting that together. I have a bit of a curveball for you. So having an idea of what I wanted to do in business, I started off down one path and then went down another path and then went down another path in terms of my audience and my target market and things like that. I think I'm finally settled and answering the calling, but how do you manage branding and content? You know, when it's all coaching, but the audience, you know, I've like my journey has been pivoting in terms of the audience I'm targeting. So what's the best way to kind of manage a brand when those kinds of things are happening along the way?
That's where it comes important to have you at the front. That's where if you have a business and you're suddenly like, we only work with women, or we're working only with men now, and you're jumping around the business sense, really help. But if we brand you, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant who you're chatting to. We change our colors and our kind of social media regularly. If you scroll through our feed and you go through my Instagram enough, you'll be like, wow, that's dramatically changed. It used to be bright purple and now it's kind of more gone like pinks and grays and kind of still feminine, but still bringing a lot of kind of different energy too. From a branding perspective, I think you get something that suits you and make it fit the business and the client as well.
Right.
And I'm happy to chat with you about like palettes and there's a whole bunch of stuff like color therapy, why we do that, like color psychology, why to use those, font psychology. That's a very real thing. Again, most of the stuff, because of my criminal intel background, I like how we make decisions. And so happy to have a chat with you about what different colors mean, because how we relate. For example, Jen, quick question. What color are most police and ambulance uniforms? Do you know?
Blue.
Yeah, dark blue, because it initiates trust in us.
It's also the heart chakra color.
Yeah, for sure. And absolutely, you better believe that there is alignment. The thing is, someone said to me once, you know, oh, you mentioned like really heart-centric language without talking about it in psychology. And I was like, no one's saying this stuff doesn't exist. We just give it different names. So I'm talking about color therapy, and it's like it's heart chakra, 100% same thing, because it's saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, that makes sense. I would love to have that conversation with you, because as I've pivoted, the colors have pivoted as well. Just intuitively, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Green ambulance is an essay. That's totally true. I did have a giggle at that. I've got an ambulance friend there, and also like cop uniforms are all different. We swap badges and stuff like that. So it's an old little hobby. The green specifically came about because of the policing uniforms. If memory serves, I wanted to have a differentiator. Aldwin. Yeah, Jen, we'll chat offline for sure, and happy to chat to anyone offline. You got my email.
Hello, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. I've got a question about Source Bottle. You said you pitch twice a day to Source Bottle. Is there certain times a day you do that, or what's your strategy?
Their emails come out at 10:10 in the morning, 10:10 a.m. and 2:10 p.m. And you better believe I'm on that within the first 15 minutes.
Got it. Thank you.
Otherwise, you were pitching to no one, because so journalists with Source Bottle, things like that, you are dealing with a very quick turnaround. So journalists often pitch and go, I need to be on this right now. I've got I'm writing a story. And journalists don't write one story, they write like 15 at one go. And they're looking for a source bottle, get it? A source, SOURCE, they're looking for a source to come and chat to you about a specific thing. It can be healing, it could be colors, it could be networking, it could be Tupperware for all I care. Like, it can be anything. Once they've got that source, and even if they only hit 80% of what they needed, they're going to move on to the next story. So after about 24 hours, source model becomes pretty obsolete. So I get onto it pretty quickly, but they come out at 10:10 and 2:10, and you better believe that my alarm at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, let's do this and get ready to go for that. I had times where 10:10 and 2:10.
Just another question on that. Do you do press releases and do any outreach other than Source Bottle and those sites?
We do when there's news to share, for sure. Probably it's really part of the PR stuff that we talk about, doing very high level today. Press releases we do for things like when people have won awards, when there's big stuff going on. Press releases, if you ever want to do a press release, please reach out, because we've got heaps of contacts for those. They're very worthwhile doing. Again, you've just got to make sure that that client, that mailing list care about what you're doing. I know we had, I think we have Fred who's really into AI stuff. I've just been consulting with an AI company who want to do basically shoot out journalist names. The hardest part of any press release is getting a journalist to care about what you're talking about, and they're going, it's going to audit. So yes, definitely do that. 10 out of 10 recommend it. Very easy to do. Just know who you're contacting. Those are Australian times. It's Melbourne time or Sydney time, I think is the correct one. The women's networking groups. Yes. BX networking. Have to say that. I'm the state operations manager, so I have to do that. And also B&I have a lot of online ones too. Women's network, I would recommend, a couple of them, is Women with Altitude. That is based mostly in New South Wales and Canberra. And usually 50 plus tends to be the demographic of people that they're bringing in there. There's a list of about 400, I think 200 different networking groups. Each of them have their own merits. What I will say with female networking groups, please be mindful that sometimes it's more about the connection than it is about the business. So you're not always going to have the same list. Instagram, how do I increase my followers on Instagram and Facebook? Great question. 1, engage with other accounts. 2, use hashtags where appropriate. 3, video and reels will always be queen in this scenario. I would also strongly recommend engaging with other people. Comment. If you see something that's funny, comment. If you see something that's like, if you're, just writing back, I have made some good online friends, I guess, and online contacts with some really kind of king hitters, because I've had conversations. Mark Rosenfeld, he became a client of ours because I engaged with his content so much. He's the biggest Australian YouTuber. Became a client of ours because I kept talking to him on Instagram. Bailey Sarian, for those who like murder and makeup, she's become like an Instagram friend of ours because we engaged with her account so much because I had opinions on what she was talking about. So keep engaging, keep commenting. You'll get likes and things like that. And just keep posting. It's consistency. Stories at the moment, Instagram best practice. I'm sorry, it's about 6 stories per day. They're recommending you post. Sorry, no more than 10 or you are seen as spam. 6 and 10, not ideal. It's a lot of work to go into social media. I agree with you, Roz. It's a lot of work that goes into it. But again, it's that consistency, and you have to go where the attention is. And right now the attention is all over social media. All right, I'm at 7:30. Nick, I did it. If anyone has any questions, I'm still going to answer them.
Fabulous. Look at that, eh? Sort of on time. What an awesome presentation. Everyone here got some takeaways that you can apply and learn sort of over the next day or two. Or who's not going to sleep tonight? So there's lots and lots of stuff out there that you can do. And Jemimah, I think, has just given us a 30,000 foot or meter overview of the whole thing. Definitely, if you want to find out more about it, she is a person to go to, and the best way to get in touch with her, well, actually, if you Google her, you'll find her all around. And
yeah, I'm super visible. How weird.
I know, right? And she's dropped her email address into the chat as well too. So if you do have any questions, do connect up with Jemimah. So thanks again, Jemimah. And we do have a door prize for tonight as well too, don't we? What is that?
Yeah, we do. This is a copy of my book, Position Me. It's how to position yourself as an expert. Lessons on accidentally becoming a starting a business and becoming an award-winning entrepreneur. It goes through, we've just reprinted for those who read the first version. It goes through basically my entire life and how I did all of this, in what order, and how it worked. So if you should win this, you can also buy it. That's also the other option. Send me an email, I'll send you a link to it. If you don't win, you'll win. It's fine. You're not going to win. We'll find out.
Fabulous. All right. Well, we do have our special way of drawing this, the wheel of names. So everybody's name is in the wheel. Just remember, if you see anyone there that has actually left the room, it means you've got a second chance. So you have to be in the room to win it. So let's spin the wheel. And a virtual drum roll, please, on your desks in front of you. As it's spinning around, lucky winner tonight is Anthony Tupper. Anthony, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here, alive.
Fabulous, mate. Fabulous. You're one of our regulars here, so it pays to keep turning, doesn't it?
No problem. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, we'll connect you up with Jemimah, and you organise sort of getting that book to you.
Find out what else is washing up along the coast. All the vessels.
Very loud, Anthony. Thank you. Congratulations. Connect me up and I'll send you out a book.
Excellent. Thank you. And once again, let's give Jemimah a huge round of applause. Thank you very much for coming in tonight. If you've enjoyed the episode, remember it will be up on our YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon. We did have some problems live streaming it to Facebook. So if you know people that do catch it on Facebook, we'll upload it there tomorrow as well too. And now is a good time to think about saving the chat, because all of those links for the cool online tools, all the details that Jemimah shared are all in chat. And how to save that is there are 3 little dots depending on the version of Zoom you've got. If you open up chat, there are 3 little dots either at the top right or down the bottom. If you click on that, it gives you the option to save it. And when you've saved it, just a little hint, there's a link that pops up that if you click on it, it'll take you directly to the document that you've saved on your computer. So you don't have to wonder where your downloads folder is. If you lose the link or it's too quick for you, just save it again and the link will pop up again. So this will be up on the YouTube channel tomorrow, SmashGo YouTube channel. The link for that is in chat. If you go and subscribe to that channel, and if you click the little bell when you subscribe, then you'll get a notification as soon as that's uploaded. If you do know someone or people that would be interested in tonight, feel free to share that link or just tell them to go to YouTube and come and view that tonight, so tomorrow or when they would like to. So thank you everyone for coming along tonight. Thank you, Jemimah, for your time coming in tonight as well too. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week, same time, same place, your place on Zoom, and have a good night.